late Napoleon Hill, the great motivational uh, thinker, teacher, and inspirator of his time, he coined the phrase, quote, what the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve, end quote. A.J. Gaston, businessman, entrepreneur, millionaire, during the time of segregation in America. How did he do it? If they did it, we can do it too. No one can stop you or I from succeeding but us. Don't you know that during the days of segregation in America, the black economy flourished? Black businesses flourished. Everything that we had flourished, especially growing up where I was growing up. I saw black businesses everywhere. Then came desegregation and integration, and it crippled the black economy. How and why? Because the money that was coming into the black economy started going into white businesses within corporate America. And the only thing they cared about is your money, not you. Tyrone Bowman Live tonight, I want to talk about A.G. Gaston. So there's a photo of this gentleman who was down in the deep, deep South during Jim Crow, KKK, and segregation. And he became a millionaire many times over. How did he do it? Well, according to the Encyclopedia of Alabama, now even they down in Alabama recognize who A.G. Gaston was. Quote, Birmingham entrepreneur and businessman A.G. Gaston, 1892 to 1996, was one of the most successful African American business owners in Alabama. Gaston overcame humble beginnings and racial discrimination to build a $40 million business empire, which included a savings and loan bank, business college, construction company, motel, real estate business, burial insurance company, 2 cemeteries, and 2 radio stations. Although criticized for what some viewed as an accommodatist attitude during the Birmingham civil rights movement in the 1960s, Gaston nevertheless used his accumulated wealth to provide financial support to the movement's leaders and participants at crucial times, and worked behind the scenes to help the movement achieve its goals. You know, if you want to achieve financially, and if you want to accommodate wealth and financial stability for yourself and your family, you have to make a decision. Are you going to have your mind on your money and your money or your mind, or do you want to be broke? There are too many of our people always whining and crying and complaining about what they don't have, when we have God given gifts, talents, and abilities that we can use that will cause us to achieve and excel in ways that we never dreamed of. You know, the Nation of Islam, founded by the late Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it's one of the most powerful black organizations in the world, self-sustaining, with hundreds of millions of dollars through businesses, entrepreneurial efforts, uh, black self-reliance and achievement, self-sufficiency. Don't tell yourself what you can't do. Just do it. Is it going to be easy? No. Can it be done? Yes. You ask any athlete who wants to be a tennis player, basketball player, football player, or any entertainer, ask them about the rigorous schedules that they have to keep up and the training that they have to go through in order to achieve. You know, unless somebody is cussing and fussing and raising hell and bringing gossip here on YouTube, you all don't want to hear it, because that's where your mind lives at. And the foolery that goes on in the minds of most people is what's keeping them broke. Author George A.G. Gaston was born on July 4th, 1892 in Demopolis, Magogo County, to Tom and Rosa Gaston. Gaston spent his early childhood living with his grandmother in Demopolis because his father, a railroad worker, died soon after his birth, and his mother worked as a family cook for A.B. Loveman, a wealthy Jewish businessman 25 miles away in Greensboro. Although his grandmother lived in poverty, Gaston nevertheless began to develop his entrepreneurial skills early in life by charging neighborhood children admission in the form of pins or buttons for the privilege of playing on the swing in his grandmother's yard. The only one in the neighborhood, at the age of 13, Gaston rejoined his mother when she accompanied the Lovemans to Birmingham in 1905. Loveman, who founded the state's largest department store, was a successful entrepreneur and investor, and undoubtedly made an impression on young Gaston. Soon after arriving in Birmingham, Gaston's mother enrolled him in the Togo Institute, a privately run charitable school for African Americans founded by Fula, native and education and legal reformer Carrie Toole in 1903. The Togo Institute had adopted Booker T. Washington's industrial educational philosophy, which emphasized the skilled trades and businesses. Washington, who visited the school often to make inspirational speeches to the students, quickly became Gaston's role model. Inspired by Washington's message of individual intuitive, Gaston grew restless and left the Togo Institute after completing the 10th grade. He held odd jobs, including selling subscriptions to the Birmingham Reporter, a black-owned newspaper founded in 1906 by Oscar W. Adams. I'll bring his story in another video. And working as a bellman at the Battle House Hotel in Mobile. So look at this photo right here of the Booker T. Washington Business College. Check it out. Now on with the article. Now, what I'm talking about might not appeal to you, but for some who come across this video, it's going to be the catalyst that they need to be able to start the business that they've been dreaming of in their mind. Unable to find fruitful business opportunities, Gaston enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1913. The armed forces were segregated at the time, and Gaston was assigned to the all-black 92nd Infantry Division, which was deployed overseas to Cherbourg, France, for combat in 1917. During World War I, although he was overseas fighting in a war, Gaston managed to consistently send home 15 of his $20 in a monthly pay toward a mortgage on his first real estate investment in Birmingham. Upon returning to Alabama after the war, Gaston drove a delivery truck for a dry cleaning company and worked as a miner for Tennessee Coal and Iron Company in Fairfield, just outside Birmingham. Always looking for a way to make an extra dollar, Gaston was soon selling homemade sandwiches to his fellow miners at lunchtime. Gaston was able to save a remarkable 2/3 of his income. And with the additional money from his lunch business, he had enough cash on hand, ladies and gentlemen, to begin lending money to his co-workers at the rate of 25 cents per cent interest. In 1923, tired of toiling in the coal mines and seeing a need among poor blacks for more affordable funerals, Gaston founded his first business, the Booker T. Washington Burial Society. In its early years, the society worked much like a fraternal order, with members paying weekly fees of $25 25 cents that entitled them to burial services upon their death. This business thrived. I meant to say $25, I'm sorry. This business thrived as a result of Gaston's ability to form a coalition with area black ministers who steered members of their congregations to the society. He also attracted customers by sponsoring gospel singers and Alabama's first radio program aimed at African Americans. The society's success led Gaston to establish in 1932 the Booker T. Washington Insurance Company, which offered life, health, and accident insurance to its customers. Gaston's shrewd business acumen soon led him to add burial insurance, undertaking casket manufacturing and sales of burial plots in company-owned cemeteries to his list of services. In 1923, Gaston married Creola Smith and then founded Smith and Gaston Funeral Directors. Gaston had a knack of seeing a business need and filling that niche. For example, in response to a noticeable shortage of qualified skilled clerks and typists in the day-to-day operations of his businesses, he founded the Booker T. Washington Business College in 1939. Gaston continued to fill needs and expand his empire by adding businesses, including the Vulcan Realty and Investment Company, the A.G. Gaston Home for Senior Citizens, the WENN-FM and WAGG-AM radio stations, hot ziggity, S&G Public Relations Company, and the A.G. Gaston Motel. In the early 1950s, in response to difficulties for blacks in obtaining loans from white banks, he opened the Citizens Federal Savings and Loan Association, the first black-owned financial institution in Birmingham since the closing of the Alabama Penny Savings Bank 40 years earlier. Also at this time, he attempted to manufacture, bottle, and sell a soda called the Joe Louis Punch, trying perhaps to fill a need that there was no compelling. Of the numerous business ventures founded by Gaston, this was the only one that met with failure. Gaston was not an outspoken advocate for civil rights, instead working quietly for equal treatment for blacks throughout his adult life as early as the 1920s. Gaston not only, and now listen, this is important to know, because Gaston developed his philosophy from Booker T. Washington, who was telling the black people of that day that they should concentrate on building economic sovereignty, concentrate on skills, concentrate on getting your quote unquote money up and leveraging, then you can fight the causes. Remember the song by the late Billy Preston? Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you want to be with me. In order to be in the game and be at the table, they won't care about you or your skin color, but they'll become a millionaire. They will invite you because of the green color, and they're going to want to know how the blank did you, how the hell did you manage to accumulate this kind of money as a black person in America. Don't let people tell you any different, people. Green power comes from money power. Money power equals green power. And that affords you and I the opportunity to be able to do things we couldn't do just by jibber-jabbing and talking trash all day long. So in the 1950s, Gaston succeeded in having the whites-only signs removed from the water fountains in the First National Bank as a result of privately threatening to close his account with the bank. You see what I'm talking about? They couldn't stand him, they couldn't stand his people, but they loved his money. And so since that successful black man said, if you don't get rid of this desegregation crap, I'm taking my money out of this bank. Wow, the trajectory changed real quick, didn't it? In 1956, he provided a job to Autherine Lucy. They gave her the financial support to become the first black student to register at the University of Alabama. Despite these efforts, Gaston earned criticism from some quarters of his low-key activities in relation to civil rights, opposing the more confrontational tactics of Fred Shuttlesworth and his Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights. Gaston served on the committee of 100, a biracial group of Birmingham businessmen dedicated to bringing about desegregation in the city through less public means. This group had some initial success when downtown merchants agreed to desegregate their stores in the fall of 1962. Despite criticisms, Gaston provided space at a reduced rate in his motel to protest leaders, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Reverend Dr. Ralph Abernathy for planning for their demonstrations. Gaston also bailed King out of jail when he was arrested in the spring of 1963 during the Birmingham campaign. You got to have friends with money, y'all. Say that to yourself right now. You need friends with money. If you don't have it, you better have some friends that got some money because you never know what's coming down the pipe. Gaston himself became the victim of violence as a result of his support for King and Abernathy when his motel was bombed on May 12, 1963. In September 1963, Gaston's home was bombed, but no one was injured, and the house suffered minimal damage. In 1976, Gaston was again the victim of violence when he was kidnapped by an intruder, beaten with a hammer, handcuffed, and driven around the city for hours before the assailant was apprehended by police. The incident was thought to be prompted more by his financial status rather than his race. Cocky pop. It was both. When you're wealthy, get yourself some bodyguards. Stop running around the nation thinking that you are Clark Kent and you're going to put a cape on. Hire yourself some beefy, well-armed bodyguards. In 1968, Gaston published his autobiography, Green Power. We're not just talking about that a few moments ago. Green Power, baby. The successful way of A.G. Gaston, motivated in large part by his desire to promote Black entrepreneurship and to regain respect in the Black community. The book was well received and earned Gaston an appearance on the Today Show. During the last decades of his life, Gaston amassed many honors and accolades. In 1975, he received an honorary law degree from Pepperdine University. And you know why they gave him that degree? Because he probably made a huge contribution and because of his wealth status. They don't just give you honorary degrees to be giving them to you. They give them out because of what you can contribute to the university. In 1976, he was named an honorary president of Troy University, and the Alabama Broadcasters Association named him its Citizen of the Year. Gaston was also honored by serving on the boards of trustees of Tuskegee University, Daniel Payne College, the Gorgas Scholarship Foundation, and the 18th Street branch, the YMCA. In 1992, he was named by the magazine Black Enterprise as Entrepreneur of the Century. Gaston gave back to the community in numerous ways, including donating $50,000 to establish the A.G. Gaston Boys Club in Birmingham and serving as its president. He also served on the board of directors for the Jefferson County United Appeal, the Jefferson County Mental Health Association, the National Business League, Operation New Birmingham, and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. In 1986, Gaston added to his empire at the age of 94 with the A.G. Gaston Construction Company. The next year, Gaston rewarded his longtime employees by creating an employee stock option plan and sold the Booker T. Washington Insurance Company with assets totaling $34 million in assets to his employees for only $3.5 million. Gaston continued to operate the Citizens Federal Savings Bank and the Smith and Gaston Funeral Home in the 1990s, despite suffering a stroke in 1992. Gaston, one of Alabama's leading entrepreneurs, died on January 19th, 1996, at the age of 103. And let me say this before I close. Don't ever tell yourself what you can't achieve. Don't let others tell you what you can't achieve. Get it made up in your mind. And for God's sakes, get away from negative thinking, speaking, acting, do nothing people. And can I tell you something? Get away from your negative thinking family members, always telling you that you'll never be nothing and don't even think about trying to do what others do. Get it made up in here. Follow through on it. I've said this on numerous occasions. I'm going to say it tonight. I'm on the road to becoming a lawyer. I'm in school. I'm in my third year of undergrad as a criminal justice major. And I'm not letting anyone or anybody tell me what I can't achieve. And just scholastically and academically speaking, I have a 3.75 GPA. And I'm determined to go all the way. Focus, focus, focus. I don't just come before this camera. It's hot up under these lights right now, and it's late. But I'm here because I believe in what I'm doing. Now, the Gaston Motel, an important gathering place in Birmingham for civil rights leaders and the scene of a bombing in 1963, was also included as part of the Birmingham Civil Rights National Movement created by President Barack Obama in January 2017. In June 2023, the city of Birmingham completed a major renovation of the motel complex and opened it to the public for tours. And let me tell you something about this hotel. That is where the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on April 4th of 1968. And that hotel is now a historic site. To my brothers and sisters down in Alabama, if you see this video after it goes up, check out this story. Research A.G. Gaston for yourself. Stop begging these people for opportunities. Create and make your own opportunities for yourself. So here's some additional resources if you want to learn about A.G. Gaston. Get the book, authored by A.G. Gaston, titled, because I'm going to get it, Green Power, The Successful Way of A.G. Gaston. It was published in 1968 by Troy in Troy, Alabama, by Troy State University Press, 1977. Jenkins Carroll and Elizabeth Gardner Hines, Black Titan, A.G. Gaston, and the Making of a Black American Millionaire, published by New York One World in 2004. And Noel James L. Hartz of Dixie, 50 Alabamians and the State They Called Home. Get that book. So the question is, what are you going to do? Fulfill your dreams. Fulfill your purpose. Don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. Thank you for watching. Never surrender. Never quit. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this, kindly subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. All right, y'all. Peace. Got to get ready for the next video.